James Bell made this comment. He said, craziest thing when I was a dealer was a lady deep-throated her chips in her mouth and spit them in the box. It was probably like $300 of green and reds.
Once again, shout out to Nicole, dude. That just makes her that much better.
Wait, that was Nicole?
No, hold on, Carl. No, they didn't put the tip in the throat. They like the whole stack, right?
She put the whole stack in her mouth and then spit it in the box.
In his tip box.
In his box.
Dude.
You know how much germs the chips, they have Ebola probably.
We don't care,
probably.
dude. Do you know what kind of grinder my brother is? He is from the same school as me and Chef and a lot of us old schoolers.
Lori checks out.
You can shove green birds in your butthole and I'll pull them out for you.
What did he say?
I got bills to pay.
Oh no, he said it was not Nicole.
I'm like, give me those green birds, sir.
Thank you very much.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm in the camp that $1 a hand I'm fine with.
$1, $1.
I'm just gonna pump out as many hands as I possibly can.
There it is.
I'm okay with $1. I'll always say thank you for $1. I'll never be a dick about $1. The only time in my head I want to strangle you is if I deal you a $5,000 jackpot and you give me $10.
Grab his dick and twist it! Oh my god, dude, this is an MMA fight!
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, we both win here. Yeah, like, come on, help me out a little bit. But yeah, no, tipping's not what it used to be. And it's across the board. And I'll say this too. I think a big problem with dealers and supervisors and things now, and not to sound like an old fuddy-duddy.
Back in my day, you didn't have to jump through all these damn hoops at the bank. You give them your money, they put it in your account.
Middle-aged madman. I think customer service across the board has dipped in the last 10 years or so. Not just poker. I see it when I'm in a restaurant. I see it when I'm anywhere with hospitality. It seems like people don't go above and beyond anymore. People are just going through the motions, and you get shit service everywhere now.
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
Because this is my voice.
This is my voice.
It's not just poker. So I think maybe it's a generational thing, or it's just a work ethic thing, but we're just in a different time, I think. And I think just poker's part of it. It's really weird. And when you got two guys doing it, like when there's a guy straddling the back of his buddy's chair and watching him play.
Got room for one more if you still want to go to Aspen.
When I was dealing, I'd be like, how long have you guys been together, dude? They're like, that's cute.
Give him a back massage while you're sitting there.
Are you married yet? I mean, I'm ordained. If you haven't tied the knot, I'd love to help you out with that. You're like, oh, it's just my friend. I go, I don't know, dude. His balls are on your back. He's watching you play poker. Seems like he could probably be doing something else at this time. Like you guys look good together. I mean, I'm not a homophobic. I think you guys are adorable. Like, oh, just shut up and deal.
I wish you wouldn't look at me like that, Napoleon.
I wish you'd get out of my life and shut up.
I'm like, all right. Did you say that, or did your backpack say that? I couldn't even hear that. I'm sorry.
By the way, guys, we're live. Let's make sure we baby-proof what we say before we get canceled.
Good point.
What's up, guys? Today we have an ex-poker dealer, a killer comic, the only guy who can shuffle the deck and a punchline at the same time, Johnny Bell. What's up, Johnny?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. And we have also an ex-poker dealer and a comic himself. He ran a tight ship with his funny single-liners, Daniel Leeds, a.k.a. Chef. All right, let's start off with Johnny. Give us a little background on how you did the transition between dealing and comedy. And we talked yesterday. You dealt, at every venue. You did Hard Rock, Silks, Derby. Let's hear it.
I'm the best at burning bridges. I don't know if anybody's better than me. I quit or get fired better than anybody. No, I've always been in entertainment my whole life. Right out of college, I started DJing in a nightclub, and I sang in a band for a long, long time. It's another thing that people don't know that I do until you show up at a Rays game and I'm doing the national anthem. Then they're like, oh shit, he sings? Yeah. So before comedy, I was doing all that. And I wanted to do comedy. I grew up wanting to be a stand-up comedian. I was always the class clown, things like that. And if you played on my poker tables, you knew then, this is what this guy's supposed to be doing, because I was never serious on the table unless it was like a high limit game. And then sometimes not even that. But I dabbled a couple of times doing stand up in the mid 90s, and then I was about a year into dealing before it was Hard Rock. It was the Seminole Indian Gaming Palace. Back then, you said Indian, and nobody cared. It was the name of the bingo hall, basically, with a poker room and a slot machine room attached. It was looked like a giant Family Dollar where you could just openly smoke everywhere, even in the poker room. It was gross. But I was about a year into dealing there, and they opened up a comedy club in Ybor City, the Tampa Improv, which is now the Funny Bone. And they part of their big promotion when they opened, they had a comedy competition. It was like open call, open mic competition, and everybody in the break room at work was like, dude, you have to go do this competition. You should be a comedian. And after they bugged me for a month or two, I said, all right, I'm doing it. And I signed up, and 35 comedians showed up, and I won. I won first place. And after that, I was hooked in. I just kept going to open mics and kept going to workshops and kept dealing poker, and eventually, started getting paid to do comedy, and never stopped dealing poker. For 20 years, I was doing comedy and poker at the same time. No matter where I was dealing poker at, I was doing comedy on my nights off or nights wherever I could, fill it into the schedule, and became a headliner within 10 years. And being a single dad, I really needed both jobs to raise my son. So poker really helped me, maintain the income I needed to raise a child. But comedy was always the dream. So, after my son graduated and went on to college, I knew at that point poker wasn't long for me. And within 2 years, I was out of the poker industry and just focusing on not only stand up, but 2013, I also got a local FM radio program on 102.5 The Bone. And while I was progressing in comedy, I was also progressing in radio locally and moving my way into better time slots and becoming more relevant as a broadcaster. So now, not in poker for the last 6 years. I'm just a radio host in the daytime and a comedian at night. And I do freelance voiceover work and do a little gambling, still grinding a little bit on the tables and sports betting and things like that. But yeah, now as far as poker, I'll pop in, I'll teach a class once in a while. Once in a while I'll train a dealer on the side, or most of the time I'll just I'll hop online and talk shit to people. So yeah, that's where I'm at with poker.
You know what? I think 3 industries are very hard to make it: poker, comedy, and music. And you're kind of involved in all 3. At what point you thought you can? First of all, let's hear your first bomb on stage, because. Is it recorded? Is it even recorded?
No, God, no. If it was, I would find a way to scrub it from the internet I was a politician. No. God, I mean, there's been a few memorable, complete bombs. I mean, I could think I don't know, probably 2005-ish. I was opening for Mark Maron. And his crowd, definitely not my kind of crowd. His crowd's a little more sophisticated, deep thinker type of people. He's a little more political. I don't do politics on stage at all because I don't like to divide my audience. And I hate everybody on every side of politics. So I go in there. 2005, I'm 5 years into comedy. I was still figuring out who I was on stage. A lot of my material was just corny, easy jokes. I look back at footage from back then and I cringe, I wasn't the comedian I was going to be, So I'm up there doing easy jokes. His crowd hated me from the get-go. I had 25 minutes on stage. This was at the Tampa Improv, and it was dead silent. When I say dead silent, I mean, I could hear the cooks and the servers in the kitchen, talking about orders. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, it's hey, we need fries on table 11. The crowd was dead silent. At one point, I thought maybe I was part of a YouTube prank. Maybe they put pamphlets on the tables or do not laugh for Johnny B. We're doing a prank on him. It was bad. Not a single smile in the room. And when that's happening as a comedian, we have this inner voice that hates us, like most comedians, right? We're very self-loathing and just, we're mentally ill. And the whole time I'm bombing, this voice in my head's going, 24 minutes, you piece of shit. Yeah, look at you. This is horrible. You should drive.
That's a long 25 minutes.
You should drive to the Skyway Bridge. And then like I'm just up there just going through the motions at this point. I'm just like,
how do you deal with it when you bomb like that? Like first of all, the nerves to step on stage and knowing the fact that you're gonna like
I comedian. I thought I was gonna kill it until 30 seconds in. Then I was like, oh man, this is bad, dude. This is real bad. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. Like you can't just leave. Like, you know, you just have to. I mean,
you can. It's just gonna be twice as bad.
It's not like really poker. Bad. You know, when you're having a bad day in poker and you just go, you know what? I hate this table. I hate this tournament. I hate the structure. And you just shove all in and go home. You can't really do that in entertainment because they're paying you for 25 minutes. So you got to do the 25 minutes. And if you don't do it, not only do you not get paid, but then you get a reputation with all the bookers like, hey, this guy ate a big shit sandwich and bailed after 12 minutes. You can't do it. You just have to take your lumps, man. Once in a while, like even Tom Brady's had a bad game where he throws 3 picks, you know, and you just have to go, you know what? This sucks. I have to eat it. And I'll have one day I'll be able to talk about it on a poker podcast, you know?
What did you do to deal with the nerves? Any drugs, anything like beta blockers, anything, or just winged it?
I've never really been.
Wings. He ate wings.
Yeah, my drug is overeating and alcohol. So I don't remember what I did that night. Like I probably blacked it out on purpose. I just remember the set like in detail, and I remember getting off stage, and the MC was a friend of mine, and he's just looking at me like, oh, buddy. And I'm like, yeah, this is not good. And it happened a few more times until I really figured it out, you know, like a little bit. And I tell this story a lot on my radio show and on other like comedy podcasts, but the big turning point for me where I stopped bombing and when I really turned the corner, I took a year off of comedy because a very famous comedian named Robert Kelly almost made me cry at an IHOP. And because I bombed opening for him twice out of like 5 shows over a weekend. And we're at the IHOP and he says to me, you know, he's this Boston guy and he's just a ball buster, old school comic. And he says, how you think you did tonight, dude? And I'm like, I don't know. I said, you know, could have been better. And he goes, no, you fucking suck, bro. You suck tonight. And I go, Jesus, dude, go easy, man. I was trying to like not think about it. And he's like, nah, man. He goes, I'm telling you that because I know you're funny. Like I wouldn't have had you open for me if I thought you sucked. He goes, but you're not doing the comedy you should be doing. And then he started pointing it out. He's like, you have a kid. And I go, yeah, you know, I have an 8-year-old kid at the time. Now he's 25. And he goes, you didn't talk about your kid one time. And I said, yeah. And he goes, aren't you going through like a divorce? I said, kind of. And he goes, you didn't talk about that bitch one time. And I go, yeah, you're right. And he goes, all you talked about was like stupid shit. And he goes, talk about the stuff that you talk about when we're doing podcasts together and when we're just hanging out in the car and you're making me laugh my ass off. That's what you should be talking about on stage. And he was right. And I took an almost probably 11 months I took off and I threw away all my material and I just started writing again. I started going back to open mics and starting over from fresh. And that IHOP conversation could have like crumbled most people and made them never do comedy again, but it just fired me up and made me kind of open up my eyes and realize I don't want to bomb anymore. And I mean, I've had a couple bad nights since then, but most of the time, you know, with the experience I have and you know, knowing what I know, you know, I'm good at adjusting to whatever the crowds are. I stand in the back of the room when I watch my openers and I kind of read the room. I can call an audible and I know what to do now. But yeah, it's like, you know, it's like being an experienced poker dealer. You know, your first year, you're just gonna like flub all over yourself and freak out when you're dealing PLO, and then when you become a grizzled old veteran, you just sit down and you know you got Doyle Brunson and you know Phil Hellmuth and everybody at your table, and you're just like, whatever, dude. You know, and you just deal it. You know how to deal. You know, that's just how it is.
Yeah, it becomes autopilot. I love the way sometimes you need that honest feedback. Really. I wish it's the way he put it. Like, hey, you suck, but you're good. Like the fact that he told you you're good, but you're just not performing at your best. That's probably what made you. If he said you sucked and didn't give you any good feedback,
you suck. Pass the syrup.
Yeah,
You suck, just like quit, do something else, drive Uber or something. That would have been the end of it. But the fact that he told you, no, you're good, but you're not performing at your best. And that's, we need that honest feedback sometimes in poker, because there's a lot of delusion in poker. Because anybody you can sit down with Phil Ivey and Phil Hellmuth and crush them that day, and you think you're the best. Like, if somebody
that's
not
what makes
giving
poker, that's what makes poker wonderful, because if
Agree.
I played Tiger Woods in golf and he kicked my ass, obviously I'd be like, he's
10
much
times
better
out
than
of
me.
10.
But if
times
I
out of
go and play poker and get my ass kicked, there's a million reasons why I lost money, and it was never because I play like shit.
Yeah,
right.
It's always because the dealer sucked, or the fucking cards ran, the other guy got lucky, or blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
And
you can justify.
Nobody ever admits that they might have some leaks in their game.
Well, bad comedians will do that all the time. They blame the crowd every single time when they bomb. They go, "Yeah, this crowd, man, it kind of sucked tonight." And it's funny because I was doing a show and both my openers ate a dick, but then I did great, but they were both kind of new, and we're like getting something to eat after the show, and it was almost like the Bobby Kelly thing. But one of the guys goes, "Yeah, that crowd, man, they were super tight." And the other guy's like, "Yeah, man, what was wrong with them?" And I go, "I don't know what you're talking about. I fucking crushed it. You guys suck dick. That's what happened. You guys suck." And then I had to take 5 minutes and get them back. I had to pump them back to life because you guys went up there for 45 minutes and ate a dick. And then I had to like pick up the pieces. I had a great set. You guys didn't have a great set. You guys are noobs. Shut up and pass the syrup. Like that's.
I mean, sometimes you're gonna have bad crowds. Sometimes, like I saw one comedian. I think his Indian name is. I can't think of his name. I can pull up the clip.
Is it a famous guy?
He's kind of famous. He was on Joe Rogan. And what's up, Julio?
How you guys doing? I apologize for my tardiness and for disrespecting the Muck Around Find Out podcast. It will never happen again.
Straight
That's
to
all
jail.
right. You missed your big blind.
Straight to jail.
That's fine. I'll get it right back. It's called Big Blind.
I love the background. That's a solid show behind you. How did you do that?
It's trippy.
Yeah. You should watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, watching yourself, being on camera.
I wanted to point out something, Carl. Remember, when we were saying about, poker players will never blame themselves. Many times when I would sit down at the table, to go deal, I'd push into the table, and the guy in seat one leans over and goes, "Man, I haven't won a hand in like 6 dealers." I'm like, well, I just look at him like, well, maybe it's not us.
Since you brought that up yesterday in the tournament, like in tournament poker, you really don't need cards. Like when you're running bad, you got to start mixing it up and doing things with 6 deuce and 7 deuce. You don't need cards, especially like late stages. All you have to do is steal blinds a couple times to stay alive. Yeah. You don't need aces and kings. But anyway, back to the story of Cash. I think his name is Cash Patel.
No, Cash Patel is he's a
that's not a comedian.
He's a part of the Trump administration. Is he FBI director, right?
Not Cash Patel, then. My bad. Obviously Indian. His last name is Patel, but I can't think of
both of my doctors are Patels. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah,
there's a lot.
Yes. It's the Johnson of India. Yeah, so
he went on. I don't know which university, and he talked about couple subjects. They booed him off the stage. Like literally, a girl came on stage, cut him off mid-set, and he came on Joe Rogan and talked about it. It was a big
I think it's
the whole reason.
Is it Nimesh?
Yeah. That's who it is.
Umesh,
Yeah,
you said?
Are you talking about?
It's Nimesh. Yeah, he's funny. Yeah, I like him.
Okay.
Yeah, they boot him off stage mid-set, and I mean, some of his stuff is offensive, but not worthy of being booed off stage.
No, I'll say this about college: it's doing college comedy shows used to be awesome, like 15, 20 years ago. Big paydays. They have huge budgets. If you can get on a college circuit as a comedian, awesome. Now, no comedian wants to do colleges anymore because these 20-year-olds, they want to be offended. They want to oppose anything. They're like a buzzkill, and you're more likely to bomb. It sucks. They want YouTubers and TikTokers and bullshit like that. They don't want real comedians. They want some guy that's going to go up there and dude perfect the crowd, like fart in a bucket and shoot a basketball behind his back. They don't want
Nimesh. His name is Nimesh Patel.
Yeah, he's great.
He was kicked off at Columbia.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no. Yeah, Yeah, it's an Ivy League school. They can really suck it. I'm not doing it. You'd have to pay me so much money to go up there and eat shit.
This is the clip. I pulled it up real quick.
Yeah, he's a funny comic. So,
yeah. After watching this, we're gonna hear Chef's story, and then we're gonna move on to poker.
Sounds good.
All right.
I'm like, dope. And I get there at like 7:30, and I walk in, and I'm like, okay, I know all these kids. I mean, they're like 20 or something, but like I know them. I grew up with these kids, like Abigail's and Pratik's or whatever. Like I know all these guys.
Right.
And immediately my comic hat turns on. I'm like, okay, the show itself, the energy is dope. But the show, like acoustically, I'm looking, okay, this is a high ceiling, the lighting shit. It's not set up for like a comedy event. But I still think, okay, this is going to go well. 8:30, 8:45, I get on stage. And I'm like, I do some Columbia stuff because I went to Columbia for like a summer program. I start making fun of the kids a bit. And I say, do I have to give like a trigger warning? Almost like joking. Like, do I have to give a trigger warning? Because I know, that's a thing. And I say, like, be careful. Some of this might be sexist. Some of this might be racist. Just buckle up. And one girl boos. And I'm like, wait, you're booing? Already? It's like 2 minutes in. And I'm like, well, look, I literally said, I just listened to the set on the way here. And I said, well, buckle up, because this is the real world or whatever. And then I go into material and it's going well. This is one story I want to dispel. Like I will fully own a bomb. If I'm bombing, I know I'm bombing. I will tell you that I bombed before 1 billion times. I'm doing fine, 60, 70% of the set. 17 minutes in, I tell the joke where I say, effectively, I don't think being gay is a choice, which is, I don't think it is at all. But this is how you know, because there's gay black people, and no one's going to choose to be gay if they're already black, right? No one's doubling down on hardship.
That's a funny joke.
Thank you. No one.
It's a funny joke.
Thank you. No one, no black dude ever wakes up and thinks, you know what, this black shit too easy. I'm going to put on a Madonna halter top and some Jordans and tell an Indian dude how to live his life. That's not a choice. You were born that way. And that it bombs, like this silence.
Really?
Complete silence. And then I say, you're exactly who I expected to be as a crowd. And then I say, the only person that chooses, this is also what wasn't printed, is that the offensive part to me, what I think is offensive, is the next part where I say the only person that chooses whether or not to be gay on a daily basis is Mike Pence, right? We can all agree that, I don't know if he's gay or not, but no man hates homosexuals that much if he himself is not a homosexual. He chooses not to be gay every day. And that gets some laughs and applause. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I get back into it. I'm rolling for about another 2 or 3 minutes. I start talking to I do a joke about how my dad landed in Newark when he immigrated to America. Some girl's from Newark. She interrupts. I start talking to her for like 2 minutes, and that goes terribly. It's just like I'm going fishing with her, just trying to see if I can get back into it.
What is she interrupting?
Is she
heckling, or is she?
I say a joke where I say my dad landed in Newark. Back when he landed, it was called Brick City because if you looked at someone wrong, they'd hit you with a brick, right? Fine, kind of throwaway line. This girl goes, "That's not true." Fast forward through it. I know what she's trying to do. Still talk to this girl for like another 30 seconds, and then as I'm stage with microphones and like one trench coat, and they're just like program,
Moral of the story: they kick him off stage, which is insane.
He got thrown out.
She comes. Wow. They cut off his mic. She comes on stage and she started apologizing. The video's on YouTube. Wow. I didn't want to go through it. It's like 17 minutes long.
Yeah.
Chef, let's talk about your history as a poker dealer at Hard Rock. How long you worked there, and
so back in like 2003, 2004, I was going through some life turmoil stuff, and I was going to the casino as like therapy, because honestly, like, who hasn't? You got a lot of shit going on. You can go to the poker table and nobody knows you. Nobody's going to ask how things are. You can just go there and just chill and have a drink or just relax and, talk about sports or talk about but you don't have to deal with life. And poker is pretty therapeutic. And I made some new friends that didn't know what was going on in my life at the time. And it was really, really therapeutic. It was great. I was obviously working as a chef, hence the nickname. I'd go straight after work and in my chef getup And
that was my next question, where the
yeah.
nickname came from.
Yeah. So I was a chef at Nordstrom. They have the little cafe inside there at the time. I had a few careers, but I was in the restaurant business for many years, restaurant management, food service director. I was a chef for a while, and I was going to play poker afterwards. I met a bunch of people, a little bit, after going there for a while, I got invited to some home games, started playing with some people, made friends. I became friends with Johnny. I became friends with his brother, a whole bunch of people that were dealing at the Hard Rock and other just regular players. And I found a new group and I vibed with everybody. And it was really cool to, have some different friends that didn't know, what was going on in my other life, because it was just, things went sideways. And after a while, Johnny was like, and a bunch of these guys were like, you should learn how to deal, man. It's easy. We make good money. And at the time I was in restaurant management. There's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, let's do that. Let's figure that out. And, Johnny taught me how to deal. And I ended up dealing at Melbourne. There was a dog track out in Melbourne. Me and Johnny would drive over Friday, work a double, stay in a shitty hotel, work Saturday double. And that was our week, 4 shifts. And we were making, I'd make like $800, maybe $800-900 in those 2 days.
Not
and
bad.
it wasn't bad. And this is back in the $2 straight days. It was $2 bets. It wasn't no limit, but it was all just pumping hands out and keeping the table entertained. And it was fun. And then this was like 04, leading into 05. And then a whole bunch of us went and dealt the World Series in 2005. There was a whole group, probably like 30 or 40 strong out of Tampa, dealers that went all out there to deal. I was one of them. Johnny was with me. There was a whole bunch of dealers that some still work at the Hard Rock. Some have moved on to other things, but
the two of us actually drove from here to Vegas and then drove all the way home and took a tour took all of our Vegas money and took a tour through I don't know, we stopped and played in Oklahoma
in Concho, Oklahoma, when they first got poker. We were paying for gas money,
went back to
gas money.
Went back through Tunica, spent a day there playing.
That was quite a road trip. Tampa to Vegas.
Fun.
We were just taking turns driving and taking turns paying for gas. And somehow every time it was my turn to pay for gas, we were in the middle of fucking nowhere. Gas was $17 a gallon. Whenever it was his turn to pay for gas, we were in a major metropolitan city. And it was $2.50 a gallon. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But so I dealt the series in 05. I stayed out there for a little bit. Before I went out there, I had applied at Hard Rock, and I got a call while I was in Vegas, after the series in 05. And Lou, who still works there, was like, "Hey, are you still interested in the job?" I said, "Absolutely." She said, "When can you come in for an audition?" I go, "Well, I'm in Vegas." She goes, when are you back?" I go, "No, I live here now." She's like, "Oh, well, okay. What do you want to do?" I go, "Tell me I'll book a flight. I'll come back and audition." This is in, August, September of 2005, I think. And I booked a flight, flew back, auditioned. And she was nice enough to say, "Hey, since you flew all the way back here, I'll just let you know now. You blazed it. No problem. Go ahead and get your shit together and you're hired."
Who was doing the auditions at Hard Rock at the time?
Lou, daytime supervisor Lou. She's
Lou.
Still there. Yeah,
I love Lou, man. She has good energy. What's her status now? I feel like she's higher up now.
She's like second in charge of the room, I think.
Second in charge. Okay, so right under
Pablo.
So.
Yeah, I believe so. I think she's the day shift supervisor. I don't know how they, supervisor, manager. I don't know how it works out.
How the structure goes. Okay, but what a life you guys were living. Traveling across the country, dealing, playing. It sounds like a rock star life.
Yeah, and that was, I dealt from 05 to 16. In 2014, my son was born. We were expecting my son, and I got, we had hired a doula, and she was like, "You're really handy." And so, long story short, basically I ended up launching a baby proofing business, and I thought it would be a side gig. I'll do a couple houses a month. And within about 6 months of launching the business, I was like, actually, I think this is a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. And within about 18 months of launching, we were able to, I was able to leave the Hard Rock completely. I phased my way out slowly, but noticed the tongue-in-cheek poker reference with my business and my logo. Full house baby proofing, kind of nice play on words. If you've got 3 kids and 2 adults, that is a full house as I see it. And a lot of people don't see the houses spread out and the heart, diamond, club, spade thing going on there, but that was designed by Hootie, one of our friends that was in the poker world. He's a graphic designer. I think he works for Adidas now. Yeah. Oh, nice hat, by the way. There you go.
I got the whole fit on today. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Sponsored by. He should get paid for this.
I wish.
So yeah, so that's and about a year and a half ago, I've been out of the dealing game for a while, but I still play fairly regularly. And about a year and a half ago, one of my friends, David Hall, who owns Rockstar Dealing Academy in Tampa, Brandon, gave me a call, and he was like, "Hey man,
shout out to David."
Shout out to David. He was like, "Can you help me out? I need someone to cover one shift, one class. I don't have a teacher for." I was like, "Yeah, sure. You paying me? Sure, why not?" And I rolled up there, and this was like they were doing like 6-week classes, like 2 days a week, and I rolled up. It was supposed to be like week 5, week 6, and these guys were not where they needed to be in my mind. And I was like, "What? Who's been teaching these guys?" It was just not where they needed to be. And
why do you say that?
They just like not. There's a certain way to teach poker dealers. Like you got to build upon skills, and then by the time you're into week 5 or 6, you should be able to run the game properly. You should be able to do all the things. There's Johnny. This is last Saturday. We were over there with a brand new class. We had like 12 students in a class, which is great. But long story short, there, David was like, "So I fired my weekend instructor. How would you like to teach the weekend class?" And I was like, "Oh, Saturday and Sunday?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "No, I don't want to do that because I already work my business Monday through Friday." So I was like, I'll give you Saturdays. And so I've been teaching 1 day a week, the occasional, I'll pick up an occasional day, but it's kind of cool to teach, new dealers how to deal the right way. And it's really important to me. I know you guys as players, it's important. Like you see
we're gonna
what
dive
bad dealers do to a game if they don't run the game. If they, as players, when I'm a player, it's frustrating. When I have a very, that's Vinny. Also on the left, his dad was a dealer with us at the Hard Rock for many years.
I taught his dad and his stepmom how to deal also 20 years ago. So yeah,
that's a cool picture, by the way.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just, I take a lot of pride in, making sure the mechanics are right, making sure they can pitch, making sure they can shuffle properly, making sure they can put a flop out without having to go back and fix it. Like that annoys me, like to no end. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the World Series this year. Every clip they showed was like these dealers that are like just mashing the flop down.
Don't let me start. We talked about this yesterday when we were rehearsing. The 2 rooms in the WSOP, Normandy and Province.
Yeah.
Shout out to the supervisor that was running the both rooms. His name is, can't think of his name right now. He did a good job considering the team he has under him, because you walk into these rooms to play, they were running mostly satellites and dailies. It's miserable. They had a name for these rooms because you're not going to have a good experience. They send their worst dealers to these 2 rooms. I'm talking like you're sitting there, you're worried that they're not going to put a flop, they're not going to burn a card. Every hand had a mistake. I'm like, please, David Hall, help us. Like that's the one thing in the WSOP with the app this year, buying in and not waiting in line. The app they launched, the WSOP Plus, was a blessing for all the players. The dealer situation needs to be addressed because this is like a multi-million-dollar industry. You got to fit. Like this is one of the most important factor is who's sitting behind the box. Hire people, like work on training the dealers. I know there's a high demand for dealers, but
yeah, I think they need to hire like
going quantity over quality, and who's paying the price? The players, because you're going there and not enjoying the game. You're playing supervisor, player, worried about mistakes. Every deal there's a mistake.
I was playing a tournament at the Borgata like this past year, and like the shuffle master kept jamming, and the dealers were god awful. They were all really bad. And this dealer kept stopping to go fish the cards out of the shuffler. And I just go, hey, man, I don't mean to be a dick, but like the clock's running. Do you think you can just hand shuffle and maybe call a supervisor and have him deal with the shuffler? And he kind of was like, yeah, whatever, like kind of annoyed with me. And the supervisor came over and was like, yeah, go ahead and hand shuffle, bud. And I looked down, the dealer or the supervisor starts reaching in, and all of a sudden there's cards in the air. And I go, okay, there is no way he went shuffle, box, shuffle, and then started pitching. Like that wasn't enough time. But I was like, okay, maybe I wasn't paying attention. So I was like, let me pay attention next hand just to see, because he's going to hand shuffle. He literally went shuffle, cut, deal. And I was like, what?
Wow.
Like, okay, so we don't even like, and I said something to the supervisor. I go, look, I know it's either shuffle, box, shuffle, or I'll allow shuffle, box, shuffle, but there's a box in the middle of the three shuffles. I go, that's standard, right? And she's like, yeah. I go, great. Well, have a chat with this guy, because he just shuffled once and started pitching. And it's like, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I was at the Orleans years ago, and the bad beat went off. There was only 2 tables going. It's like 3 a.m, and the bad beat goes off on our table, and both tables get paid. So everybody's happy. It's like $40,000. We're all gonna, get our player share of it. And it takes like, we all give our IDs and whatever. It takes like an hour, and then the manager, the supervisor comes walking back in the room with like 5 security guards. And I looked over, I said, this is not going to work out. This is something bad's about to happen, dude. Like, why does she have 5 security guards? Well, the table next to us had like 4 big biker guys on the table playing. That's why they brought 5 security guards, because they informed us at that point that there was a discrepancy and that the bad beat wasn't valid because the dealer got distracted while she was selling somebody chips and didn't shuffle at all. She sold somebody a couple $100 worth of chips, reached over, grabbed the deck, and just started pitching the cards. And they saw it in the film, and nobody got paid. And they needed all 5 security guards because like 3 or 4 of the guys were raging. They were like so pissed.
They already had that money spent in their mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always my biggest fear when I was dealing, because something would happen. I'd look down at the deck and I'm like, I don't remember if I shuffled it or didn't shuffle it. I would always shuffle it just in case, or put it back in the shuffler. But yeah, like that was very common where you're like, I don't remember where we're at in the hand.
I took this clip from the win. I can't find the clip that I took from Normandy, but look how this dealer is shuffling in blocks. It's pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
Clump.
And they do that so quick. Like the riffle. Like,
look how high the cards go up too.
Yeah. That's not the worst I've seen. I have plenty of clips of bad mechanics.
Not the worst, definitely not the worst. And this is the win. The win, they have the best dealers.
I mean, I'm friends with one of the supervisors of Bellagio, who's like, "Hey, come over here for a minute." I'm like, "Uh-oh." And he goes, "No, just sit here and show this dealer an up pitch, please." Because like these guys don't deal stud often, and he knows I know what I'm doing, and it's like I can teach. That's one thing I'm blessed with. I mean, Johnny taught me how to deal, and I took what he taught me. And the thing is, when you do something for a long time, like dealing, I didn't think about what I was doing until I started teaching. And now I've got to kind of break it down into steps of what you need to do. Like, this is why you do this. This is why I do this. Like being efficient with your emotions. And that's something, with me and Johnny, I know when we were at Melbourne, for instance, they raked to the 50 cents, right? So it was $1.50 to $2.50.
And by the way, not to interrupt, but when we went to Melbourne, it was a brand new room. So we went over there and actually helped them. Even though I just taught Chef how to deal, I was kind of showing their supervisors how to run they have brand new supervisors that never ran a poker room. They ran other casino games. So I was kind of helping train their dealers at the same time in exchange for them giving me and Chef a sweet, double weekend shift, which was like the premium shift back then. And we also kind of created, like a fun environment to where, when you get a tip, you rack it on the well. And we would say, if you get a red bird, you yell red bird going down, and then it would cause excitement. The players would have fun, and then the dealers would make more money, and it was working. We were making great money.
The thing that we were doing that was kind of just between the two of us, it was just kind of autopilot where I would put change in the pot. Like, it's very common as a dealer. I want change in the pot, A, so I can rake properly. But B, when I push the pot, I don't want you to flip a 5 at me and ask me to break it, because I'd rather be dealing the next hand. So if there's change in the pot when you push it, you can throw it. Throw me $1, throw me $1.50. But
it's a good one.
It's just smart dealing. It's just making if I can get an extra hand or 2 hands a half hour times 8 hours a day, that's my car payment for the month if I'm just efficient. And I try and teach these students. But one thing we did was, like, we're raking to the 50 cent. Most dealers are going to have either, just break $1 into 2 50-cent pieces. No, I would break $3 worth every hand. The only ones that would get mad were the brushes. But, like, you'd push a pot and these players like, "Ew, here." And they'd throw you like $2.50 in 50-cent pieces almost every hand. And at the end of the day, me and Johnny are cashing out like a full rack of yellow. And the other dealers are like, what are you doing? Why? How do you have all that money? Like,
I remember, Chef, playing when you were dealing. It was fun to be at the table, for sure. Your comments, if there's like a altercation, you know how to diffuse it without even raising your voice. You just shut people up with like one word, and it's like witty, fast. There's people that can do that. Most people take it personal and they get like riled up. You are always calm. You just know how to diffuse the situation.
I think because I've been in stressful jobs, and people like that deal poker that have never dealt or done anything else, they're like, "Oh, it's so stressful." You're like, "Why? It's not your money." First of all,
it takes some type of person. It can be stressful. You're sitting there. There's 9 people watching you. If you make a mistake, especially new dealers. When you're a veteran, you don't care about all that. You're just
I enjoy the game, and I took pride in running the game correctly. And I think too many dealers now like take it as a social engagement where they're having a chat and discussing the Monday Night Football game, and you're like, "Hey man, could we get a turn card? You think? Is that possible?" Because
let's get to the fun stuff. Let's get to the pet peeves. What dealers hate, what players hate. The fun.
Yeah. Carl, I have a couple of questions.
Of course.
Question number 1 for both of you. First one is, back in Melbourne, was that Club 52 or was it something totally different? It is Club 52?
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure, because I agree it was pretty bad at the beginning. Things run smoothly now, but just making sure. Now, I do have a question for both of you. You mentioned about, how a dealer could get distracted. Maybe they're making change. They forget whether I shuffled or I didn't. I don't know. Let's do it again. What do you guys do? I mean, you personally, to stay focused for like a 6 or 7 or 8 hour shift. And at the poker school that you're helping at in Brandon, do you touch up on that subject with the students and give them tips on how to stay focused for a long period of time? Because it's very repetitive. And like you said, there's 45 TVs on with a football game. It's hard to just stay focused. So how do you do it? How do you teach it?
I'd say, so there's a few things. Like, as a dealer, like, you have to have a certain procedure. Like, you push the pot, you move the button, you drop the rake every time in that order. Because if you don't do it, then you're like, "Oh, did I can't remember," because you didn't do it in the same order every time. You have to do it the same way. You see some dealers that put the turnout overhand and then they put the river out sideways, and you're like, just do it the same way every time and you won't get messed up. As far as like, I could deal poker, and Johnny, you can't, like, in your sleep, right? Literally, you don't have to pay attention except for PLO. You don't have to pay attention in 1-2 or 2-5 no limit until the river, until I think I'm going to have to read the board. I don't give a shit what's on the board. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, because it's going to go bet, raise, all in, fold, 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 fold. That guy wins. Does it matter what's out there? No. So don't waste any brain energy like looking at that. And that's one thing I teach. Like, who cares if the board's paired, if it's all clubs, it doesn't matter until it goes bet, call, and you have to decide who won between the showdown, right? Outside of that, like, it's just repetitive. Like, every game, you got a flop, you got a turn, you got a river, be it PLO, Omaha high-low, it doesn't matter.
It's a job. It's a job. At the end of the day, people lose grip of it's a job. Like, whatever you do for a living, your first job is to focus on your responsibility, why you're there, why you're getting paid. If you are a construction worker, you're not going to take your mind off your job and fall off the side of a building. You know what I mean? So if you're a chef, you're not going to, forget to salt your food. Now you're not doing your job correctly. So if you're a dealer, you got to pay attention. You got to, have your head on a swivel. That I think people lose the, they lose like the whole reason why they're there. You're there to control the etiquette of the game. And if you work for a company, you want to make sure your priority is putting money in the rake, making sure that the players are having a good experience so they don't go to the poker room 2 miles down the road, so do your damn job. And then if you're doing your job and you get, where you're really good at it, then you could talk about the football game a little bit, maybe. Maybe you could do.
If you can run the game and you can multitask, by all means, do that. But if you can't put the turnout while you're talking about the game, then you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Not everybody's fantastic at dealing like Chef and I. Some people aren't idiot savants. Some people have to focus on what they're doing, where him and I, we can cook an omelet and deal PLO at the same time. We're just gifted.
Yeah, it takes a certain gift, hand-eye coordination, kind of like sports for your pitch. Like you said, being focused, like us as players, from our perspective, what we like. You don't have to be a robot and like you said, keeping track of everything, but just don't have a conversation, full-blown conversation when you're making mistakes.
Yes.
Somebody like Chef can drop one-liners, can joke around, and still everything is going to be perfect. I mean, there's a mistake. Everybody makes a mistake here and there. But when the dealer's making a mistake every deal and still trying to entertain players, or the worst we talked about yesterday, and it happened yesterday at Derby. I'm not going to name names, of course, but
you don't have to.
End of the hand.
What does it rhyme with?
The dealer was like, "Oh, you had 17% equity, and that was a really bad run out." Like, dealers that talk about anything that has to do with the hand or how the player played the hand. You as a dealer, neutrality, like that word, I can't emphasize so much about that word, neutrality. You're not invested in the hand. You're just there to deal and make the game run smoothly. Don't talk about strategy. Don't talk about how the hand was played. Don't cheer for one person more than the other. Like the dealer said yesterday, "Oh, how you like me now?" And I lost a big pot, and it was break.
I don't like you.
I don't like you at all.
And you know what? One player said it because, like, one player lost a couple pots. He said it in such a funny way. It wasn't a dealer that was cheering, but the players at the table were tapping the table to congratulate the other guy how he played the hand. But the other guy lost a big pot, and he's right there at the table. And he said it. He's like, "Can you guys please not cheer? Like, easy on the cheering. Like, I'm right." He said it in such a funny way. I cracked up laughing. Like, you shouldn't cheer for anybody. I know these are like small things, but they matter for players, especially when it comes from a dealer that's supposed to be completely neutral. He'd be like, "Oh," the dealer was like, "Oh, how do you like me now?" The guy sucked out on him. The guy won the hand hitting a 2-outer, and the dealer during color up, he's like, "Oh, how do you like me now?" No need for these comments. Stay neutral.
There's a couple of reasons why that happens a lot now. Number one, there's no pride when in dealing like there used to be. Like, that's why you don't have people with great pitches anymore, because they don't work at it. Like, you develop a great pitch. Like my brother, mechanically great dealer, because he really gave a shit when he was starting out, and he worked at it. Chef, great mechanics. I think I have pretty good mechanics because I wanted to be a good dealer. I wanted to pitch cards well. I wanted to be as precise as I could be, because you make more money when you're better at stuff, and you also everything about it is why you should work harder at it. If you're a football player, you want to throw a lot of passes so that you're better at playing quarterback than the other people. But nobody has that kind of pride anymore. They go in there, they're miserable from the time they clock in. And the second reason is accountability. We used to have supervisors that would yank you out of the box and tell you, you need to work on this, or, you need to pay attention, or, you're not doing this correctly. And it was a lot of accountability. Now the supervisors don't know what the hell they're doing. A lot of them don't. And the ones that do, they couldn't care less. There's a lot of that going on.
I don't know what happened after COVID. We're on a different timeline after COVID. Everything customer service just went to shit. The dealers, the team of dealers that was hired at Hard Rock after COVID, they were making so many mistakes. It was kind of like playing the WSOP. And they were there for like 5-6 months, still the same mistakes, not focused.
That always boggled my mind, because it's like, if you do a job for a while, you're going to accidentally get better, right? Like
some people, you gotta somewhat like it, and you gotta be somewhat. It's like everything. There's natural ability, and there's how much time you put on practice. Like
how players look up to players. Like when you got a player, you go
the pitch. You gotta. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that like players look up to players. They go, man, that guy's or that girl's a really good player. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It used to be that way with dealing, to where you would look up to good dealers, and people knew the good dealers like, and it was like, almost like you looked up to him like an entertainer or an athlete. You go, oh my God, you see Bill Bruce's pitch, dude. The guy's phenomenal. Like, he's got a world-class pitch. Or you'd say, like Dougie, or you have all these people, and you would almost like you wanted to collect a goddamn playing card of these dealers, because you knew they were so good at what they did, and you respected it. And I don't see that now. I don't see where.
And a big thing too is, if you're following a good dealer that sets the table in the right mood, that helps me. I'm going to get to the next table, and they're in a good mood, and they're throwing tips, and everybody's happy. Certain dealers you follow, and the table is miserable. And now you got to spend the first 10 minutes digging out of the hole that they've built for you, with little jokes. I'm like, hey, 5 minutes in, I'm like, hey, you guys having a quiet contest? And just try and break the ice, because they're so mad because the dealer hasn't said thank you in 30 minutes for any of the tips. They're just miserable as shit. They're watching the game. They're not running the game, and everybody's in a bad mood. And so if you do your job, and I want to do a good job, and the dealer following me, I want them to have a good 30-minute down, because 100%. I've set it up properly.
We're gonna read some of the chat here. Nicole Prada's in the chat. Shout out to Nicole. Do you guys know Nicole?
Love Nicole. I've known Nicole forever.
We know
Nicole. She said, "Screw that." She said, "I want the dealers to root for me." LOL. Of course,
we do. We do in our heads. Yes,
in our heads, yes, but not out loud.
Not out loud. Who's Dharma Bell?
That's actually James Bell. That's his YouTube.
James, what's up, James? Shout out. Dummy up and deal, fuckers. Well said. Then he said, I always just cheer for only players named Nicole.
That's fair. That's fair.
Nicole said that is pretty out of line, actually. I would lose my mind. She's talking about like dealers cheering for players. And then she said,
I used to love when players would talk shit to the dealers and think that we can't say anything back. Like, how many times does somebody go, "You're the worst dealer in the room"? I would usually respond like, "You're not the worst player. You're like probably top 5 worst players in the room currently." But like, and just start really digging in. They go, "Hey, you're like, you started this."
We're going to talk about this, how you deal with hecklers on stage and at the table. But let's continue with the chat. Nicole said, Hard Rock dealers are nothing like it used to be when you guys were around. That's fact. That's before 2020. The whole team was on point. You'll have like 1 or 2 slow dealers. COVID hits and it all went down to shit. Now, some of the bad dealers, like Chef said, they, going through the motion day after day, they got a little bit better. I got to shout out.
Do you guys agree? Because you keep mentioning, post 2020, after COVID and so on. So I've obviously noticed this too, but I think it makes sense because of 2 reasons. Reason number 1, I think a lot of people lost their regular jobs or whatever they were doing, whatever they like doing. And then once after COVID, they can't go back for whatever reason. And they just trying to find a quick fix. And if they're thinking about poker, whether it's dealing or whatever they're doing poker related, as something temporary, so they don't really give a shit whether they get better or not. Have you noticed that they're just doing it for a couple of years and then just trying to move on to whatever else? So they don't care about their pitch. They don't care about, having good reviews
I would say there's a couple reasons, but one, when we dealt, back in the, I don't know, when Hard Rock first got No Limit, what was that, like 09, 2010?
Yeah, 07, end of
07. So the 07 to like, 2014 range, money was flowing, everybody's making great money, right? But then skill took over, right? And a lot of players, a lot of pro there was a lot more pro players coming out of the woodwork. And now these pro players are $1 a hand, whether it's a $20 hand or a $500 hand, it's $1. So you're making less money
or
as a
nothing.
dealer, or nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. Or I'll get you next time. I love that one. Hey, I'd tip you, but I'm stuck. Like, just don't mention it next time. I'll assume you forgot. Cool. All right. But the money has gone down overall, as for a career. So like some of these guys that were making, really good money are now making a lot less money. And Hard Rock did something in, I want to say it was 2016, around when I left, where they went from a set schedule to more of a flex schedule. And that really, it isn't as good of a job as it was, because I had Tuesday through Friday, I was 9P to 5A, and it didn't matter if it was Thanksgiving, if it was New Year's, if it was Christmas, it didn't matter. I was Tuesday through Friday. If those days happen to fall on those days, cool. Now the dealers have a 1 day off you're always off on Monday, and the rest of the days can potentially be you're in at 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. or 10 p.m. So they flex the in times, they flex the days off. And so it's not as good of a job as it was before.
I'll add one little extra thing. I think the other reason is maybe poker was really popular back then. So everyone was pumped up. Maybe dealers trying to, make it Vegas. They wanted to deal in the WSOP. They wanted to be on TV. Maybe they took pride. And now, because that's kind of, not as important as it was in the early 2000s, maybe that's another thing. But let me ask you, Jeff and Johnny, what you think, because I'm one of the ones that started tipping less because the rake is going up. So, for example, like I won No Limit. In 2016, I made $27 an hour during the whole year at 1-2. Now I'm making, when I play that game, $21 an hour, which is not only a $6 difference, but there's inflation. It's worth even less. So I really, really brought the tipping down to $1, because now the rake of the Hard Rock, instead of 5 + 1, is 6 + 3 or 6 + 4, whatever it is. It's
6 + 2, except 6 + 2, except on like the big high hand days,
right?
And 6 + 3.
So it's just cutting so much into my win rate that I have my hands tied because I don't have a job. I have to play poker.
Yeah, so, that's a big factor, sure.
No, that's understandable too. No, and we know as dealers too who's playing for a living and who's the recreational player, and you expect to make more money off the low limit recreational players because they have a real life, like a whole other life where they're making their money and all that. And you're right. We also, smart dealers, we know if you're getting completely raped on the rake. We realize if the pots aren't like they used to be. I mean, there's a lot of factors in there, and I'm in the camp that $1 a hand I'm fine with. I'm just going to pump out as many hands as I possibly can.
There it is.
I'm okay with $1. I'll always say thank you for $1. I'll never be a dick about $1. The only time in my head I want to strangle you is if I deal you a $5,000 jackpot and you give me $10, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, like we both win here. You're like, come on, help me out a little bit. But yeah, no, it tipping's not what it used to be, and it's across the board. And I'll say this too. I think a big problem with dealers and supervisors and things now, and not to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, middle-aged madman, I think customer service across the board has dipped in the last 10 years or so. Not just poker. I see it when I'm in a restaurant. I see it when I'm anywhere with hospitality. It seems like people don't go above and beyond anymore. People are just going through the motions, and you get shit service everywhere now. It's not just poker. So I think maybe it's a generational thing, or it's just a work ethic thing. But we're just in a different time, I think, and I think just poker's part of it.
James Bell made this comment. He said, craziest thing when I was a dealer was a lady deep-throated her chips in her mouth and spit them in the box. It was probably like $300 of green and reds. True story. So she tipped him $3, but she put them in her mouth first.
Once again, shout out to Nicole, dude. That just makes her that much better.
Wait, that was Nicole? Bang, bang. And then
no, hold on, Carl. No, they didn't put the tip in the throat. They like the whole like stack, right?
She put the whole stack in her mouth and then spit it in the box.
In his tip box.
In his box.
Dude.
So it's like a sexual thing, but you know how much germs the chips, they have Ebola probably.
We don't care, dude. Do you know what kind of grinder my brother is? He is from the same school as me and Chef and a lot of those old schoolers.
Story checks out.
You can shove green birds in your butthole and I'll pull them out for you. I got bills to pay.
Oh no, he said it was not Nicole. Okay. It was not Nicole.
I'm like, give me those green birds, sir. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't care.
Nicole said no, it's lies.
We've seen a lot of crazy stuff, man. Yeah, I was talking about that with you guys yesterday, and we were testing the stream. Like, I had a dealer or a player one time. He won a big pot, and this is in a high limit room, and he was excited, and he threw a green bird, and when he did, it kind of hit me in the chest and bounced off. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," because he knew I was one of those dealers. I'll fucking verbally, I'll destroy you. And when he said, "Oh, I'm sorry," I said, "Dude, that's a green bird." I said, "You can hit me in the chest with green birds all day long." I said, "It's a blackbird. You can wind up and overhand that bitch right at my face, buddy." Like,
yeah. I say the same thing when the dealer is pushing a pot, and if it's like stacked up and it falls and they apologize, I'll be like, "You can throw chips as whatever way you want. As long as the chips are coming my way, you can throw them, you can do whatever." One thing I wanted to comment about, you said, "Oh, I want to bang out as many hands as possible for the tips." I hate when a dealer does that in a tournament, because in tournaments you're not getting tips, so making the action faster does not help anyone. And I hate it when the dealer is like rushing the players. He's like pointing.
Now
they're
I
pointing
will
at
say,
every player. Even if you're taking like 2-3 seconds, they'd be like, action on you. Even if you're like tanking for 2 seconds, they act like it's too long. And instead of getting stares from other players, you're getting stared at from the dealer. I hate it. I tell them, I'll be like, slow down. It's not like I want to tank for a minute.
When I say pump it out hands, that does not include
tournaments
rushing. No,
I know you guys.
It's a $2 limit game. I'll give you the open palm. Be like, action's on you. But if it's a tournament, you're right. You're getting the same tournament down as a dealer. When I say pumping out hands, I mean I'm not stalling and talking about bullshit when I should be shuffling and pitching cards. I should be pitching cards with accuracy and with some good speed and some good rhythm.
Exactly. I'm all about the dealer setting the tone and running a tight ship, but don't rush us. Like, don't point at me if I'm thinking for 2 seconds and act like I'm taking a long time, especially in a tournament.
I will say, in a tournament though, this is the 05 series I was dealing. It was an Omaha high-low event. And you guys tell me what you think. 3-handed at showdown. See, one guy shows the nut high, and the other guy shows the lock low. Okay, and the nut high is the nut high. It's not a straight. It's like a flush or a full house or whatever it was. It's not tieable. And then Sam Farha is sitting here like looking through his hand and looking at the board, looking through his hand, looking at the board. Does this for about 45 seconds. And at that point, bitch, the clock's moving. Like, there's no more poker to be played. It's just either show me the lock low so we can chop the pot, or muck your shit. You're wasting everybody's time. And like the other players are standing there like, what is going on? And finally, I just like gave him the old palm and I started reaching for his cards. He lost his fucking mind, cussed me out. This fucking dealer, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, either show me the lock low or muck your shit. I don't know what to tell you. The clock's moving. He was not pleased with me, but anybody that's ever dealt with that guy knows that what's he going to do? Not tip us extra? He doesn't tip. He's a piece of shit. So
horrible human being. Horrible.
Damn, there's a lot of story about Farha being an asshole.
I could tell you about every single pro from 10 years ago and beyond. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that people idolize that are pieces of shit, and a lot of people on TV that people hate that are actually really cool in real life when the cameras aren't around. So what you think you know about people from watching them on TV, you know nothing.
You know what? The story comes to mind. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Moneymaker. I was not a big fan and I was not a hater. He's just, made poker famous for his win in 2004. But I saw something when I was playing in Vegas at MGM. The way he talked to one of his employees, and I respected that other person. So I had so much respect for the other person. But he was kind of like needling him, but it wasn't like sometimes people needle and they don't... it's not demeaning, but the way he was doing it, I did not like it, and I lost respect for him. Plus, it was his tournament. Like, if I'm playing in my tournament, it was the main event 1700 Moneymaker. If I'm playing in my tournament, I'm the image of this tournament. Like, I should at least, like, I'm not saying like be a robot, but at least be
a good host. Be a good host.
Exactly. He was talking shit to players, like getting out of line, shoving with like Jack Deuce, trying to bust players, talking shit, being disrespectful to his employee. I'm like, who is this person? Like, what we see on TV is completely different than real life.
Don't be a pile of shit.
I got a money.
It was exactly that. I was very disappointed, honestly. What's that?
No, I got a Moneymaker story. Same thing with you. I mean, I didn't admire him or whatever. I was just neutral. But he won in 03, and obviously in 03, the series was at Binions downtown. And then in 05, it moved to the Rio, except for the final table, which they did play at Binions. But after 05, everything was at the Rio. So a couple of years after winning the main, while he's still being sponsored by Poker Stars, getting paid millions of dollars, he gets a bad beat or whatever, like at the table next to me, whatever. And he starts screaming about how unlucky he always is. And he throws the cards, and he's like cursing, and he's like showing everyone the bad beat. And I can fathom, like, you are the one person in poker who has no valid argument about being unlucky. You're the luckiest person.
Literally.
Even if you never win a tournament again in your life, you're the luckiest person ever in the world in poker. And I just couldn't believe that just a couple of years later, he's like cursing and complaining and yelling. So that really, again, same as you, I completely lost respect for what I was seeing on TV.
I was surprised what I was witnessing from the behavior in his own turn. If it was a different tournament, you can behave anyway. You can drink, you can do cocaine for all I know, but this is your tournament. Like, have a good image.